welcome back to another episode of the greatest show on earth. You want to know how I know it is? Because you wouldn't return back for another episode if it wasn't. Am I correct? Well, I'm glad to have y'all here. I appreciate the support. Everyone who tunes in, leaves comments, hits that like button. I really appreciate you. And we're only going to continue to get better and bring you more videos. Now, I want y'all to be aware of what's going on out there in the world, because some people who do not live in certain areas, they actually have no clue about the dangers that we face on a day-to-day basis. See, when you don't know that the dangers exist, that means when you go to certain areas where trouble will find you, and trust me, trouble finds you, then you will not know how to react. And that is the most important thing that you can do. It's all about your reaction. Yes, even though sometimes, well, not even sometimes, most of the time I say it's all about preventative measures. Taking preventative measures so that you don't put yourself in certain situations that can cost you your life, your livelihood, your family, or anything else that you possess. Well, Colion Noir is one of the gentlemen that I've always watched on YouTube because he's a gun advocate, and I'm sorry, I'm a 2A advocate myself, and trust me, I have a few. No, not just a few. We have a lot. So him and I have a lot in common. I do love the art of shooting. I love firearms. Yes, I do. I collect them, and he collects them as well. Not to mention, he has a huge channel on 2A rights and firearms. He teaches you a lot. So he has these stories where he was almost carjacked, and it took quick wits or his firearm to get him out of those situations, which I have been in myself, and I will share a story with y'all. It's a brief story right after we get into his video. But before we continue, I need y'all to do 3 things for me. Hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and share this video so someone else can do the very same thing. And if they don't, then we're going to send Colion Noir after them. I want to get right into the video. I'm not going to keep y'all long. I know I always say that and I keep y'all long, but no, this time I mean it. We're going to get into his stories and see exactly what he did in order to get himself out of the situations that he found himself in, and maybe you can learn from it and learn from what I have to tell you about how these streets work.
And as I'm driving, I'm just cruising, right? And I'm not really thinking too much of it, but I'm noticing, I remember there was this green Eclipse, Mitsubishi Eclipse. If I remember correctly, it was green. And this Eclipse, I noticed that it was kind of feigning being normal, if that makes any sense. It was driving in a way where it was trying not to give me the impression that they were following me, but giving me the impression that they're following me. Like they just weren't doing a good job at it, I guess is the best way to put it. So at this point, I'm like, man, what's going on here? Like, I'm kind of confused. I'm like, what's these deals? What's these guys' deals? Like, I'm noticing it's all happening in the back of my mind. Right now, I'm not thinking they're trying to carjack me, but I'm noticing it's weird because sometimes they'll be in front of me, then they'll be behind me, on the side of me, and it was just odd. Something just was off about it. So at this point, we're driving down Bissonnette, and I get to the light, and I'm sitting at the light. Remember, this is like 3:30 in the morning on Bissonnette in Houston. And I think I was crossing over Bel Air. I think I was on, Bissonnette and Bel Air run parallel. I can't remember, what was it, Sinai? Whatever. So I'm sitting because it was right there. I think it was Bissonnette and Sinai, right there by that Timmy Chan's. They have a Timmy Chan's there now, I think. So I'm sitting at the light, and then the light turns green. So I remember the light turning green, and I'm thinking to myself, also, where the hell did that Eclipse go? It just disappeared. Like I'm looking, light turns green. I start going, and all of a sudden, I start taking off, and then the car pulls from behind me, pulls up in front of me in the middle of the intersection, trying to cut me off. And I didn't think, I just reacted. So as soon as I'm already kind of driving, so I already have some momentum, and they I guess had pulled back and it sped up to cut me off. And when they tried to cut me off, I just instinctively yanked the wheel left, yanked it right. Car just sat and took it. God, I love that damn G35. The car just said, and just kind of skirt around them. And I guess they weren't expecting me to do that, so they overcorrected and spun the car out. And then I mashed the gas and I was gone. I was out of there. And that was it. That was it. Now, that was the first one. I have two more of these stories, and they get progressively worse. So
Bissonnette must be one of those areas that you do not want to go to at a certain time of day in Houston, Texas. Bissonnette and Cyanide, whatever that intersection is, you don't want to be caught there. Because if this happened to him in the morning, well, I believe this is in the morning, early in the morning. And when I say early, I'm talking about 2 a.m., 1 a.m., because he mentioned clubbing, and this is in the footage earlier. We're not going to go over the entire video, but he did mention clubbing. So he was out pretty late, and these guys were trying to carjack him. Here is something that y'all have to understand. Be aware of your surroundings. I cannot preach that enough to people. I can't tell people that enough. Be aware of your surroundings. And you also have to wonder, right, what drugs and alcohol does to you. What do? They impair you. So when you're impaired like that, you don't know what's around you. Somebody could be watching you, lurking in the background, and you won't know because your vision is impaired, your thinking is impaired, your decision-making is impaired. Do you see how he said he skirted around that car instinctively and he was gone? That's what you have to be aware of everything around you, because if he was not aware of the situation, what was going to happen, and this is the reason why he started questioning, like, yo, wait a minute, where is this car at? They were beside me, they were behind me, they were to my right, they were in the front, they fell back. He started to notice that. If you don't notice things like that, then I guarantee you, as soon as you get cut off, you would stop the car and they would jump out and your car would be gone. You would probably be walking, or you would lose more than the car.
So that was that one. Now, nothing about that encounter surprised me, because I understood. I was driving a relatively flashy car at 3 o'clock at night, at 3 o'clock in the morning. So I understood why they were probably following me, right? Or trying to do whatever it is they were trying to do. Now, at this point, so now fast forward a little bit. I'm still kind of doing the club thing, still same G35 black with the, I'll try to see if I can find pictures of it. I'll have Peter post images, put it in here, maybe not. So still have the same G35, and I remember one day I'm driving, and it was in the evening. I don't remember exactly where I was coming back from, but I was driving in a neighborhood, and I had already developed. So at this point, now we're fast forward. Now we're at gun guy Colion. Now I have guns. So I have the gun I carry. I think at the time I was carrying I think I had my Ruger SR40, and at this point I'm driving home, and I'm not thinking much of it. I wasn't paying too much attention to what was going on around me, but I noticed. So as I pull into my neighborhood, I see this other car pull into neighborhood 2, and I stupidly I pull into my driveway of the home, and I remember I opened the garage. So as I pull in, I remember seeing in my rearview mirror this car pulling up right on the corner street of my curb where my house is. So like, if I have to drive, this is the driveway, this is the street, they pull up right there. I remember looking back at it, and I'm like, I can see shadows, I can't see faces because the tent was too dark. But it's like four dudes in the car. And I remember snapping into this like really reactive mode, because I'm like, all right, no, what was I carrying? I was carrying a Glock 26. That's what I had on me. I had a Glock 26. So I remember I pulled into the garage, and I could not remember if the garage was locked or if the garage was open. And the thing is, I did not have the key to the garage, the interior door. So if I get out of the car and tried to open the door and it was locked, I wasted valuable time, and now I'm stuck. So, because usually I would park if it was locked, like if my mom locked the door or whatever, I would come out and then use my key to get inside the house. So at this point, I'm in the car, I get out of the car, I see them, they pull up. This is happening a lot faster than I'm explaining it. I'm just trying to set things up. So I get out of the car and I notice, so I see them, I get out of the car and I notice that they're sitting there and I see that fucking dome light. As soon as I saw that dome light, because I'm thinking to myself like, okay, I could either try to I could try to just go inside through the interior garage door, assuming it's open. I'm not sure that it's open. So I have to think. I already have the key in my hand for the front door. So I'm like, and I have my Glock 26 on me, but I'm like, this little gun with 4 of them. I remember I got an AK upstairs. I need to get to my AK and I need to get there fast. So I said, screw the interior door. It may not be locked. It may be locked, but I know for certain if I get this key in the door, it's gonna open and I can get in there. So boom, I sprint out of the garage. So I sprint out of the garage, slam the garage door. Well, basically, I slammed the garage. I slammed the garage door thing. Actually, no, wait, did I? No. That's not what I did. I sprinted out of the I sprinted out of the garage, went to the front door, stuck the key in there, opened the door, closed the door, locked it, ran upstairs to my room, grabbed my AK, and then looked out the window and was waiting just to see what they do. And I remember the doors all open, and I think something about me bolting like that kind of spooked them, because inevitably what they end up doing is they just closed the door and then drove off. So that was story number 2. That was now all of this. Those 2 last stories took place in Houston, and and I remember talking to Travis Haley about that second story, and I was telling
y'all must understand something. If you have what we call preventative, instruments like a Glock 26, if you take preventative measures, and again, he was witty. He was quick. That was quick thinking. He thought about the door being locked. He thought about having the key, not having the key, being stuck out there in the middle of the street in front of his house with a Glock 26 on him. Now, I do understand exactly what he means by four people, 4 assailants. All the car doors open, all 4 doors open. They're probably jumping out with something. And honestly, I'm sorry, if you have a Glock 26 on you, it does the job. It can do the job, but just how quick are you? Just how quick are you? Not to mention, you have no idea what these men have. And so if 4 men hop out on you and they are fully armed, not knowing exactly what it is they have on them, that Glock 26 is not going to help you out at all unless you immediately start shooting at them. And again, you actually don't even know who these people are yet. So you wouldn't know anything until they actually approach you with firearms. So he would have been in a dangerous predicament. So sprinting upstairs actually did alert those men to, hey, something's not right. He ran in his house really quickly. Something's not right. See, criminals aren't as stupid as we think they are. They're not as stupid as we think they are. And another thing that you have to understand, and this is one of the reasons why I would never live in a city that does not allow you your 2A rights, that does not allow you to be able to defend yourself with a firearm. That is, criminals love easy targets. Y'all have to understand that. Criminals love easy targets. If you're a sitting duck, they love that. If they know that you don't have anything to protect yourself, oh, they love that. You want to know why? Because you're easy prey. And people love what? Anything that's easy.
Telling him how my thought process. I'm thinking I have this small gun. There's 4 of those guys, and I figured it'd be better for me to get to my rifle and instead of trying to possibly duke this out with my little Glock 26. And what Travis Haley told me was, he was like, true, but when you're in a car, those like a car is basically, that's where I learned the concept of basically a car is kind of like a rolling coffin when bullets are flying. And he's like, those 9mm rounds going through that car can cause a lot of damage. And you gotta remember, this is when I didn't know that much about firearms and tactics and things of that nature. I was still kind of at the genesis of that. So I didn't know. I thought it was hard for bullets to go through cars and so forth and so on. And he's like, no. You sitting in the car and those bullets are ripping through their car. It's a shit show. So he's like, you were better armed than you thought you were. And so fast forward now I'm trying to decide whether or not I say where I live, which city I live in. You can easily find it out. I'm just not trying to make it easier for people. But I'm just gonna keep the city nameless. But I'm no longer living in Houston. So at this point, and I'm probably gonna accidentally say it anyway. So now we fast forward to more recent times. Now, I think this happened about 2.5 years ago. About 2.5 years ago. So now I'm kind of like at the apex of my gun guy persona, so to speak. And I remember this was a Sunday, and I had went out with some friends. Went out with friends during the day, and we kind of went out, and then I came back like around 9 or something like that. And excuse me. Came back around 9, and then went out again with another friend, and was out pretty late. Came back like around, say, it was probably about 2:30. I have noticed a theme here. So I come back around 2:30 to my place, and I'm like, you know what? I want some tacos. I want to get some tacos. I'm hungry. So I decide to get in my car to go get some tacos in an area. This hat looks crooked. So I decided to go get some tacos in an area that is not really that great. It's not bad. If I say the name of the area, people are gonna be like, are you serious? like you did that. But I was hungry. I wasn't really thinking. So I think I had grabbed my 𝐂𝐸-USP9. I call it, the get home gun. I did a video on that. I had that, and then I was carrying a gun on me, and I had the 𝐂𝐸-USP in the center console. So I was going to go get some tacos from this taco place, and that's maybe 3 or 4 blocks from where I was living at the time. So as I'm driving to go get these tacos, we pull in, there's the taco places on the corner. And so then there's like a little parking lot on the left, and there's like little alleys on the right. And so this is like it's a 2-way. You can come down, so I make a left, come down the street, and I'm trying to find parking. I can't really find any parking. So I get to the end, and it's a half cul-de-sac. So the street comes down, and then it's like a cul-de-sac, but you can't turn left. You have to go right. But it's like a cul-de-sac shape. So I decided to make a 3-point turn to come back down to see if I can find some more parking again. So I do this 3-point turn, and I turn around, and I'm face to face with this gray Acura TL with completely blacked out tint. And my first thought was, who the hell blacks out an Acura? Like, there's certain cars you do that to. Like, my brain just went, and it wasn't like it was a souped up Acura. It was just a regular Acura, completely blacked out tint. I mean, murdered out. Couldn't see shit. Now, you couldn't see shit in mine either. So I can't see them, they can't see me. I don't know what it was, but I saw this car because I'm making that 3-point turn. They're at the stop sign, where the only thing they can do is go right. And something about it just spooked me. I couldn't pin it. It was probably the tint and the paper plate, but whatever. In the area, like I knew the area I was in, so I understood, I wouldn't be surprised if, something like this happened to a degree, right? Clearly, I brought 2 guns with me. So I'm sitting there, and I see, so the Acura makes a right and starts going down the street, but it's meandering. It's not really driving with any sense of purpose. It's just slow crawling. I see brake lights tapping on every once in a while, and I'm still sitting there in this half cul-de-sac looking at the car. And I'm like, something's up. And in my brain, I'm like, they're waiting to see where you go. So I'm like, you know what? Fuck these tacos. So I take off. not like at a high rate of speed, but just normally. I go down, I'm like, I'm not looking for parking anymore. I'm just gonna get back. I'm just gonna head back home and order something in or something. So I get out, I go down the street and I make a right onto Main Street, literally Main Street. And as I make that right on the Main Street, I look in my rearview mirror and and what I noticed is that car has now made the block. So they had made the block. So I guess when I took off but when I drove off, they made the block. So at this point, they're one block down from me, but I'm noticing they're driving at a rather high rate of speed because I've already turned right. There's like 3 cars behind me and I can see them driving relatively fast for the road that we're on. But they don't get in my lane. I mean, they don't, like, there's a lane on my right that's empty, lane on my left that's empty, and I got like 2 or 3 cars behind me. And I'm in my rearview mirror, I'm watching, and I'm looking up and I'm like, okay, I'm about 55, 60% that maybe they're following me. Because as I'm driving now, I'm watching them hedge their lane. They're 3 cars back, but they're like hedging the lane almost as if to try to keep an eye on me. And I'm seeing this, so now my meter, these fools after me meters is bumping up to like 70% now. So I'm at the light and I say to myself, at this light, when it turns green, I'm the first one at the light. I say, when this thing turns green, I'm gonna give it a little bit more gas than normal. Now, the car I'm driving was pretty damn fast. And the light turns green. And when the light turns green, I give it some gas. Kind of floor it a little bit, go. And at this point, I'm watching in our rear view mirror, this car now has moved over to the right lane and now they're speeding up. So now I'm at 80. So I tell myself at this next light, when it turns green, I'm gonna make a left. And if they make a left, I'm gonna run the light. Now it's like 3:30 in the morning or something like that. So there's really no one out. So at this point, light turns green. I never really stop because by the time I get to the next light, it turns green. So I make that left, they make the left. I gun it, run the red light. Then they run the red light. So now I know I'm 100% being followed, chased, whatever it is. So at this point, I gun it. And my car is substantially faster than theirs. So I'm gone, right? And they're still making chase. They're still chasing. I can see them in the rearview mirror. They're chasing me. So what I'm doing, so at this point, I'm thinking to myself, all right, I'm being followed, I'm being chased. What do I do? I'm not at a point now where I can just roll down the window and start bucking shots out the window. It's not gonna end well for me. So at this point, I say, you know what? All right, I gotta figure this out. I have a substantially faster car. I could get on the freeway, outrun them, double back, and get to my house. The problem with that, but then I'm thinking, okay, I could do that, but even though my car's substantially faster, their car's not slow. So that means that I would have to double the rate of speed to create enough gap or distance so that I can exit the freeway where they don't see me exit, make the U-turn, make the U-turn and burn back down before they can know where I'm going. And I'm like, and I'd have to do that for a considerable amount of time to create that distance. That's just an accident waiting to happen. I'm not gonna do that. And keep in mind, this is all happening in my head at like lightning speed. Like there's so much shit going on in my head. And so then at this point, I'm like, okay, I need to call it cops because I'm running red lights downtown. We're downtown. So I'm running red lights. I'm not stopping. And the problem that I'm running into also is I'm running red lights, crossing over, doubling back. Because I'm outrunning them so I could cross over, come back, and then park in my garage. The problem is I'm outrunning them too fast. So what's happening is I'm outrunning them, doubling back. They're just seeing me cross over and like, oh, and they make up the distance. So that happened like twice. So I'm like, okay, I gotta make a decision here. So at this point, I'm also on the phone with dispatch. I called 911 and I said, all right, I'm being followed. And they're chasing me, actively chasing me right now. She's like, I will route you to nearest police station. Now at the time, it never crossed my mind. I don't even know where the police station is. Like I've seen it and I've passed it, But in all my time being here, I never realized, I don't remember how to get there. So she's like, I'll route you to the police station. And in my brain, I'm like, I don't have enough mental space to process this right now because I'm still actively being followed. And I don't know how aggressive they're really trying to be. I don't know if they're going to get within distance where they can shoot at me and start doing that. So I'm thinking to myself, nah. I was like, ma'am, I'm going to try something. And if it works, you won't hear from me. If it doesn't work, I'll call you back. And mainly my point of calling is like, I know in the city, they have flock cameras everywhere. So there's cameras watching me burn through these lights, light after light. So I just want to let it be known, for whatever reason, if they start to come looking for me, that's why I was doing this. I was being followed. I wanted to have a record of what was going on. So at this point, I say to myself, all right, here's what I need to do. I need to, and I know some of you are thinking, why not just have her route you to the police station? And the reason why was because they technically haven't done anything, but they've done enough for me to be worried. And at this point, I figured once I start going to the police station and realize where I was going, they'll just back off. And then what? The police aren't gonna escort me home. And at that point, they would just wait for me to leave. Now, I could probably outwait them, but I didn't want to do all that. I just wanted to be home. And I didn't want them to possibly find me, like follow me in a way where I didn't know they were following me and then find out exactly where I lived. Because right now they didn't know where I lived. I'm just driving around. I lived very close in the area, like a few blocks, but they didn't know that. But I was staying in the area because I was trying to figure out a way to lose them so that I could stay, get home and, be good. So at this point, I say to myself, all right, I need to let them close the gap, get committed to a turn so they can't make up the difference when I double back. So that's what I did. And at this point, I let them get in a little close. I make a right turn and I let them pass over the next street so they couldn't double back. So at that point, I turned. Soon as they started committing and they crossed that street, I gassed it. And I was able to gap them by like a block or two. So I gassed them by a block or two, doubled back into my neighborhood and pulled into my neighborhood and sat and waited. So the way that my neighborhood is situated, you have, I had the ability, I wanted to position myself where I had two ways to get out if they decided to follow me, because there's only two ways into the neighborhood. So I wanted to be able to position myself so that the moment I saw them, I could take off in the opposite direction. So that's how I positioned myself. And I wasn't sure if they saw me go into the neighborhood, so I wanted to wait. So that's what I did. So I waited and waited and waited. Well, I wasn't waiting for that long. We're talking maybe like 20, 30 seconds. And within that 30 seconds, I remember I had vision both ways. So I could see in the neighborhood, there's a gate with some brush hedges or whatever and I was at a distance where I could see out, but they couldn't see in because they were too close to the gate on that street. And I see their car flying by on the outside of the neighborhood. And so I'm like, oh shit, they don't know where I'm at because they just ran right past the neighborhood. And so at this point, I'm like, cool, they don't know where I'm at. So I quietly rolled the car in, opened the garage, pulled into the garage, and shut the garage. At this point, I'd say 20 seconds after I did that, I hear like 8 gunshots right outside my street. Now, my thought process is that once they lost me, they couldn't find me. So they probably were shooting in the air, shooting out the car just to, razzle me or scare me more. But at this point, I was in my house. They didn't know where I was. We're done.
I know y'all have seen The Lion King when Simba asked Mustafa, hey, what is that area over there? What is that area? And what did Mufasa tell him? You don't want to go there. I'm sorry, but there are certain areas in certain cities, and I know this for a fact, that you do not want to be caught dead in, especially at 3 a.m. in the morning. And when I say caught dead, I'm talking about literally. Now, the way he got himself out of these situations, especially the last one, was very quick thinking. And y'all have to understand something. When your adrenaline is pumping and time is running, this doesn't happen in slow motion so you can think about it. No, it happens very quickly. So you have to be quick with your thinking. And he was very quick with his thinking, even though he had 2 guns on him. And that goes to say, if you gotta carry 2 guns on you in order to get some tacos, man, just make yourself a peanut butter and jelly sandwich at home and don't even worry about it. And I have to tell y'all something that I will always live by. Guns do not kill people. People kill people. Until next time, y'all be safe out there. If you like this video, like, share, and subscribe to the channel for more content.